Have you noticed this about His Royal Highness Prince George? Well, Prince Harry certainly has. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good to see you, chums. Thank you so much for joining me today. And can I just say, it's a good opportunity, this really. Sorry, nice to have your company. Can we just thank everybody who took part in our wonderful remembrance services up and down the United Kingdom over here, and of course around the world in the Commonwealth, everywhere. I know the Princess Royal is out in Australia. I've seen many things out in Canada. It just looks terrific. New Zealand, thank you. But you know, when you watch it on television over here, literally at the Cenotaph, and you see, exactly. And I just really wanted to say, can we just all send some love to His Majesty the King? What you don't know is he was suffering from a very heavy cold, and didn't not want to appear. But let's be honest, at his age, you do have to worry. And the other side of it is to stand there when you're feeling a little lightheaded. So whatever people are saying, thank you, Your Majesty, because it's definitely is appreciated. And of course, for all of those wonderful boys and girls, everybody who gave so much for us, it really is so important, isn't it, to remember these people. Very sad in many respects, you know what I mean? God bless you all. Seriously, thank you from the bottom of everybody's heart. Now let's get back, of course, to your royal story of the day. Prince Harry, has been very, very vocal. He's very vulnerable, isn't he, Prince Harry? Let's be honest. He's never quite sure where he's meant to be. What we're getting is new versions of Prince Harry on a regular basis. When he was over in Canada recently, he decided to show his affable side, his fun side, he had no choice but to basically say he wore the Dodgers baseball hat because of his bald spot. Well, so what? You didn't wear it when you were out in Canada, of course, for the Invictus Games. You couldn't be bothered for that, and that's apparently a passion project. It just didn't sit well, did it? Everybody knew that Harry was lying. He might as well have just been honest and said, look, my wife dictates everything I've got to do, and I had to agree to that, hence the reason she was stood there stuffing her face with a hot dog with the Dodgers sign next to it. It's about freebie, it's about Disney. We've seen it all before. But you see, there is one thing that Prince Harry becomes very, very, very nervous about, and it's his sort of dwindling popularity. And also the fact that he sees himself as something of a bit of a hunk. Absolutely, whatever he might think. And Meghan plays to this very well, my handsome husband. Here's a picture of my husband in his army, outfit from many years ago, of course, not exactly up to date. And consequently, the ones where he's surfing, it's all about that. However, Harry is very, very nervous of Prince George. And what was interesting to find was that Harry now realises, particularly at an event like this, of course, is the service of remembrance held every year at the spectacular Royal Albert Hall. And for the very first time, we had in attendance alongside the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine, Prince George, looking very dapper, I have to say, and on the cusp, of course, of teenagerdom. Yeah, very. But now there's a reason behind this, let me tell you, and this is a more serious reason, because not only was he there to pay his respects and honour all those brave men and women of yesteryear, but also he's having to be fast-tracked in many respects a lot quicker than perhaps, say, William or indeed Harry or other line of successions would be. Remember, Prince William had a long time with Her Majesty the Queen. Every Sunday they had these very informal conversations, according to an expert, but, just sort of chats about what's expected, what people would want from you, what is your royal duty. Now, of course, George, and this is the thing of the problem when you have a sort of monarch coming in later life, as we had with Edward VII. Consequently, you've now got to be sure that the next generation are ready earlier. And according to an excellent source, this was just a very small and slow introduction into this particular vital yearly attendance for the royal family, something they all want to get involved with. But of course, he will have seen it and will have heard about it and watched it on television, but the very first time at that point. Many now would suspect that next year we will also see him in a bigger role, perhaps, maybe on the balcony during, of course, the Sunday service. But at this particular point, Harry's nervous. Oh yeah, because he knows that absolutely Prince George is his now number one rival. He mentioned this before in an interview many years ago and said once, George becomes of age and he starts to get, more popular, he knows his time is through. Now, for somebody who's very fragile like Prince Harry, this is the problem that Harry now faces. It's about ego, popularity, and dwindling popularity. And while he's swanning around at a Kardashian party, there you have a prince in waiting, a king in waiting, in fact, who's now looking very seriously at what will become of him and indeed his much royal duty. Interesting insight, don't you think? Neil Sean, Kensington, London.